Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Angie, and today we'll do a couple of things. Um, the first, I'll do an update on the books that I've read so far as part of my July TBR and my thoughts on those books. And then I've also wanted to do a little mini book haul of some books that I've got in the past couple of weeks. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and start with my thoughts on the books I've read. So the first book that I read on my tablet is the Nevermoor Book 1, Trials of Morrigan Crow. And I gave this book 5 stars. And I'll tell you why. The whole story is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. The characters are amazing. Uh, you can really relate to, Morgan, everything she goes through. There's a lot of, humor in it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read the rest of the series. Um, right now there is 3 books out in the series, and the 4th one is in the process of being released. From what I've seen online, it's said to be released next year in October. Kind of sad that it's so far off for such a great series, but who knows? You never know, it might come out earlier than that. The second book, that I need to clarify is I originally said I was going to read this book. I decided not to, just for reasons, my personal opinion. And instead of reading this book, I went ahead and I read this book, Instructions for Dancing. Um, I, I did, I gave this book 4 stars. Um, the story in general is very heartwarming. I love the story. A lot of humor. I laughed, I gasped. There was parts where I actually did tear up a little bit. The reason why I did not give it a 5 star, even though I really, really enjoyed this book and it was a fun, fast read for me, is because the main character, Evie, I believe that was her name, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. Yeah, Evie Thomas was just so annoying at times. All she kept complaining was the same thing over and over again. And by the way, spoiler alert, she's basically complaining all the time. Oh, my daddy did this to my mom and they divorced. Love sucks because look what happened to my dad. I'm not gonna fall in love because look what happened to my dad, over and over and over. And it was just so aggravating reading that and hearing that, and it's just um so that was why I gave it 4 stars. Otherwise it would have been 5. It is a great story. I do highly recommend this book. um And what I mean by it's a fast story, the story itself is slow, but at the same time it's fast paced because each chapter is either 1 page, sometimes they're 3 pages, 2 pages, if that. Um, so that's why I kind of makes it a fast read, but as you're reading it, realize it is a slow story, just kind of at the same time fast paced, if that kind of makes sense. For example, there's a total of 60 chapters in this itty bitty book. Give you an idea how short these chapters are. But I really enjoyed this book a lot. Um, except for the Evie being annoying. But other than that, this was a very, very good book. I really enjoyed it. So those are the 2 books that I've read so far that I've completed. Right now, I'm currently reading Willow of Wood by Robert Beatty, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. It's kind of funny because at first I was kind of iffy if I would like it when I was reading the first couple pages. It was kind of I don't know, to me it felt like it was getting slow. And then I read some more pages not too long ago, and now I feel like the energy and the action is starting to pick up now. So now I'm really liking this book. But it's about this girl named Willow. That she's kind of like a fairy, if you want, and uh, her job is to she goes to where the humans go, where they live, and she steals things from them, and she brings it back to her colony. And they have these strict rules: if you don't bring anything, or like if your bag is not full, you don't get dinner. So they're very strict on that, and that's because when the humans came in, they came, cutting down the trees and basically, taking away homes from the animals and the fairies. So they're very bitter towards the humans. Um, so far, it's a good story. I do like it a lot. Um, so I do highly recommend it. As far as I'm going to say in the book, is if I keep saying any more, I'm going to, spoil the book, and I don't want to spoil the book. I know the author just released the second book to this series, so I'm like really late in reading this. So hopefully, eventually, I'll be able to get the second book of the series. So that'd be interesting. So those are the books that I've read and the books that I've currently read. And now, oh crud! I pulled on the string. Sorry, guys. Oh my gosh. Technical difficulties. Okay. Now I'll go over the book call that I got. I've got a total of 6 books that I've gotten recently. Okay. And basically, it's a combination of thrift stores and actual bookstores where I've gotten these books from. So without further ado, let's go into this book call. So this first book that I picked up is Seraphina and the Black Cloak. I've had this book on my TBR for months and months, so I was really excited to actually get this book. Basically what it is, it says, never go into the deep parts of the forest, for there are many dangers there, and they will ensnare your soul. So, there's that. And it's written by the same author who wrote the Willow of the Wood series. So that was actually really exciting. So, hopefully, if I'm liking this book, hopefully I like this one. We'll see. This next book that I have here, I noticed there's a lot of mixed feelings on it, so I don't know how I'm gonna feel with the book. I'm really hoping that I enjoy the book, and it's called The Guest List by Lucy Foley. Basically, it's about a group of people that are on this island in Ireland for a wedding, and a person ends up dead, and they're trying to figure out who killed them. And from what I've heard is the way the writer wrote this book, every character has a flaw that makes you hate every character, so it kind of makes it difficult to kind of figure out who caused the murder. And I believe it's more than one murder that occurs. So, yeah, once I get a chance to read this book, I will definitely let you know my thoughts. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to read this book. I don't know if I'm going to save it for October. I'm not sure, but we'll see. The next book that I have is The Vanishing Act by Britt Bennett. or Bennett. Again, I'm sorry. I picked this up because a couple YouTubers were talking about this book. I think one of them was Katie. Katie, if I'm wrong, I'm terribly sorry. But it says twins inseparable as children ultimately choose to live in two very different worlds, one black and one white. So basically, it's about twin sisters that basically go their separate ways, but they live very, very different lives, which is interesting because normally twins usually they do the same thing. And a lot of YouTubers they really raved about this book. Matter of fact, this book was actually on Book of the Month, I believe. Fortunately, I haven't subscribed yet to Book of the Month. I really want to. I really do. I just financially, I don't have the money, and the books that you see here, I don't get them with my money. Most of the time, it's my mom who surprises me with these. Otherwise, it'd be my husband. Like my husband, he surprised me with instructions for dancing. So that was nice of him. But yeah, The Vanishing Act. Now, this next book is a Christian book that I saw at the store, and it's called The Women of the Bible Speak, The Wisdom of 16 Women and Their Lessons for Today by Shannon Breen. And I just love the cover. It is beautiful. Just beautiful. And basically, this book is about, as you can tell in the title, every woman that is in the Bible. And it talks about their story in the Bible. We've got Sarah. We've got Sarah and Hagar. Rachel and Leah. We've got Tamar and Ruth. Deborah and Jael. Hannah and Miriam. Esther and Rahab. Mary and Martha of Bethany. Mary, the mother of Jesus. And Mary Magdalene, which are the witnesses to the gospel. And then the very last chapter is Jesus and the women. And basically explains, the stories of the women and how they became, what their faith in God, what God has done for them. For example, there's a story of a woman in the Bible. Her name is Rachel. She was not able to conceive. She wanted to have a baby so bad, more than anything in the world. And for whatever reason, she was just not able to conceive. And everybody around her was having babies left and right. And, she felt jealous, felt left out, felt hurt. She kept praying to God, God, please let me have a baby. I want to be a mother. Please let me be a mother. And she would pray and pray and pray, and it wouldn't happen. And then one day, God answered her prayers and blessed her with a beautiful child. Which I think that's a wonderful story, especially for, women today who have been struggling with infertility issues. It's definitely a story to read. They can definitely relate to her, and pray to God. God hears you even when you think He's not. He hears you always, and He might not answer your prayers as soon as you want Him to, but He still will. And the reason by that is He's probably putting things in place for your prayer to, happen first. There's certain things that has to take place. And, you just gotta have patience and, and faith in God that, God will, He's always there to take care of you and love you. Yeah. That's this book. I highly recommend anybody, I highly recommend this book to anybody. This is a good book just to have on your shelf, to, read through, every now and then when you need some inspiration. Not saying, don't stop reading the Bible. I mean, all their stories are also in the Bible. But if you want something aside that's just of the women, this is a good book. Now this next... God. This phone, I'm telling you, it stinks. This next book is by J.K. Rowling, and it's called The Ichabod. And on the back of the book it says, as tall as 2 horses, eyes like glowing balls of fire, long razor-sharp claws, the Ichabod is coming. So, this book here, it's a middle grade fantasy. It's got artwork in here, as you can see. For those of you who don't know, J.K. Rowling, she's a Christian author, believe it or not. And she wrote the Harry Potter series that got a lot of popular with a lot of people, including the Christian community. I am not a big fan of the Harry Potter series because it has witchcraft in it, and witchcraft goes against the Bible. So that's my choice. But the Ichabod, being that it's a fantasy, I figured I'd give it a try. Doesn't deal with any, witchcraft. As, not that I'm aware of. It doesn't say it in the summary anywhere. So, I figured go ahead and give it a try. I do like middle grades. This picture is really cute. It almost looks like a child drawing. So, I thought I'd give this book a try. This cover is beautiful. And, let me see if I... What's that? The inner cover looks really neat, too. You can see, that looks really, really, really nice. I like that a lot. And there's that one. And this last book that I've got, this big Mohican of a book, is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. I'm still contemplating whether or not I'm going to read this or not. I did do some research on this author. He was raised as a Roman Catholic, I believe it was. And from what I read about this book, it does have some Christianity in it, I'll say. And then there's also people saying that it had what's called unappealing Christian allegory, which I don't know what that is, so I might just go ahead and read it, and as I read it, see what God tells me. If he says go ahead and keep reading it, it's okay. I'll keep reading it. If he tells me stop, get rid of it, I'll stop and get rid of it. Yeah. And that's Imaginary Friend. So basically, it's about a boy and his mother that run away to this town. His mother ends a very abusive relationship with her boyfriend, and they run to this town, this little town. And while they're living in this town, her son one day, who's, I think he's got autism, he's dyslexic, got a whole bunch of different issues going on, but one day he disappears, and he stays missing for 7 days. He's missing for a whole week. And a week later, he comes back. No scratches, nothing. But he comes back different. He's no longer autistic. He's no longer dyslexic. He's in the top of his classes. He's basically like I said, he's changed for the, I don't know. He's not struggling anymore. But he claims that when he was in the forest, he made friends with an imaginary friend called the Nice Man. And that's where it kind of got iffy with me, because I don't know if the Nice Man is supposed to be a description of Satan, or if that's their version of God talking to him. But he gets told, he says that he's told by this nice man that he needs to go back into the woods to a certain part of the woods, and he has to build this intricate, exquisite treehouse. And he has to build it at a certain time, and if he doesn't build it, everybody in the town and everybody he knows, something bad will happen to them. And that's how the story goes. It says Christopher is 7 years old. Christopher is the new kid in town. Christopher has an imaginary friend. We can swallow our fear, or let our fear swallow us. Now, I know in parts of the book and in the summary, it does mention that it's up to Christopher to help fight, the fight of good and evil, and fight off the evil. So, I'll see. But, yeah. So, and it falls again. So those are all the books that I've got recently, and the books that I've finished reading, and the book that I just started reading. If you'd like to see more of my book reviews and other books that I've read in the past, you can definitely check out my Goodreads. It's Angie's Books 90. I'll put it down below in the description. So if you guys want to check it out, you're more than welcome to. And I want you guys to comment down below, and I keep saying it, but nobody comments. What are some of your favorite books to read, or what books are you currently reading right now? Yeah, I want to see, what you guys are reading. Maybe compare. Yeah, and don't forget to hit subscribe and to click the notification bell so you'll know whenever I post videos to my channel, some more book videos. I'll definitely be posting more videos as I go through my July TBR books. After I finish Willow of the Wood, I've got 2 more to read. If I finish them before the end of the month, I'll probably choose another book to read for the month. If not, then I'll just give myself a break and wait for next month's TBR. With that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Bye!